now available in paperback and e-readers. Isis, Revenge of the Cyber Goddess. The goddess next door takes on the threat of a deadly digital diva driven to destroy the world in this action-packed, all-new Isis series adventure. Get Isis, Revenge of the Cyber Goddess featuring a bonus pin-up and the other 2 books in the Cyber Goddess saga at online bookstores everywhere today. A former Austin police detective wound up murdering his family after having a car accident during a visitation. And in this incident, 41-year-old Stephen Broderick allegedly wound up murdering his wife, his teenage daughter, and her high school football star boyfriend in front of his young son after having a car accident as related to a visitation that was supposed to be arranged after he had gotten off of a house arrest. Now, your Stephen Broderick was allegedly on that house arrest because he had allegedly molested and sexually assaulted a 16-year-old relative. And after getting off of that house arrest, it seems like he wound up exploding in a rage and winding up murdering his family. Now, most people are looking at this as an isolated incident, but when I take a critical examination of your Stephen Broderick's actions, they fit the pattern and profile I talk about as related to beta males in my book, The Man Crisis. And in addition to fitting that pattern and profile I talk about regarding beta males in the man crisis, this is also another case of swirling gone wrong. Because your Stephen Broderick, who was 41 years old, was married to a white female, and he had several biracial children. But this beta male was clearly a ticking time bomb for some time, and it was clear that he had some serious issues as related to power, because it seems like those issues as related to power were the thing that drove him into participating in sexual deviancy. Now, I go into detail about how these beta males' power issues lead to them participating in sexual deviancy in a chapter of The Man Crisis called The Sexual Frustration of the Beta Male and the Sexual Deviancy of the Beta Male. Now, your Stephen Broderick seemed to have everything that most of your swirlers usually desire, and he was married to a white female. He had biracial children, so it seemed like he had everything that he wanted in a relationship, but it seems like that wasn't enough to satisfy his power issues, because this beta male's power issues were the thing that practically drove him to participate in sexual deviancy with this 16-year-old relative, as alleged in reports, and this was the reason why he was arrested, charged, and jailed for molesting this 16-year-old relative. And what motivated this type of sexual abuse of a child had to do with his numerous power issues and possibly his feelings of inadequacy about achieving success. Because some of these beta males, when they achieve success, they feel inadequate about achieving that success, and on a subconscious level, they do things to sabotage that success. So your Stephen Broderick, a black man, he had already become a detective. He had a nice middle-class lifestyle. He had his white wife and his biracial children, but in some ways, he was probably not feeling like he was worth this, and this is why he went out here and looked to feel like he was worth it, and he wanted to go to the secret world where he could go out here and have power in his life. Because when it comes down to a lot of these beta males, they feel powerless even though they have success, and because they feel powerless about the world that they're in and they don't have control over it, what they do is they go to the secret world where they can have the power that they want. And that's probably why your Stephen Broderick went to go out here and participate in this sexual deviancy with this minor. He wanted to have that power in the relationship with this child, and he wanted to have a person who he could have power over in that secret place. However, once that whole secret came out about his sexual deviancy, it wound up destroying his perfect world, and this is probably the thing that led to him winding up destroying everything in his life, because after it looks like he was arrested and charged with going out here and molesting this 16-year-old relative, this is when this beta male's world practically fell completely apart. Because after he got arrested and charged with molesting this relative, this is where this successful black man wound up having to he wound up having to resign from his job. And after resigning from his job and the revelation of him participating in this sexual deviancy was revealed to his wife, what happened was this was the reason that she had to go out here and divorce this black male police detective. And it looks like this was possibly the reasons for him becoming frustrated and angry, because his wife, justifiably, after hearing about this man participating in this sexual deviancy, wound up not only filing for divorce, but placing a restraining order on your Stephen Broderick. So after finding out that this man who fathered her children participated in sexual deviancy by molesting this teenage girl, she wanted to protect her children and put a restraining order on him. And the judge also put an ankle monitoring bracelet on your Stephen Broderick as he was away from his family. And sadly, that may have ironically exacerbated the situation that led to this whole violent situation and the tragic deaths of the wife and the daughter and her boyfriend. Because as this man was on house arrest, he was simmering and boiling in anger. And as he was simmering and boiling in anger about this whole situation as related to his life situation deteriorating, he was sitting there simmering, boiling in anger, and was probably driving to visit his family in that anger, then had that car accident, and that's when he wound up exploding in a rage. And as he exploded in that rage, he wound up murdering his wife, murdering her teen daughter, and murdering the high school football star boyfriend that she had, and did this all in front of his son, all because he was probably extremely enraged about the whole situation as related to his life practically deteriorating. But his whole life had been in crisis even before this great tragedy. No, his life was a complete mess because he had not really worked out his issues as related to his low self-esteem and his low self-worth. Because a lot of beta males, they do not feel worthy of their success, and because they don't feel worthy of their success and they don't feel like they deserve their success, what they do is things to sabotage their success on a subconscious level, because they feel powerless about their accomplishments and achievements, and they feel powerless about their station in life, and they feel like they have no control over their lives, and they need to go to the secret world to feel comfortable and safe in their lives. And this is probably why he wound up allegedly molesting the 16-year-old, because he could have power in that situation. He could have control in that situation, But when oftentimes, again, with the beta male, when they participate in these kinds of behaviors and they're revealed, what happens is it destroys the smooth world that they've created, that smooth and perfect world that where they have everything going right because they go out here and do wrong. And your beta males oftentimes go out here again on a subconscious level to sabotage themselves, but they also believe that they are justified in participating in these indulgences because they believe they're such good boys. Because a lot of times when you're dealing with a beta male, they will have a perfect world on the outside, but they feel justified in doing a little wrong because they feel like they've done all of this good stuff, so they should be rewarded with a little indulgence. And that is something that they believe is their justification for doing wrong, but it is not a justification for doing any sort of wrong. It just shows how twisted these beta males' logic is. They believe that they can go out here and participate in sexual deviancy, and it's fine as long as they've done a lot of good deeds, because in their minds they have the nice, as a nice guy, they've done all this good stuff, so that they feel like they have a right to do this, and you should look the other way. But no one should look the other way when a man like this is alleged to have participated in sexual deviancy like this. And when you have a sexual deviant like this, a pedophile, allegedly, people need to take action, and this individual needs to be punished. And if this man is tried and convicted, he is going to be punished in the most severe fashion. And I believe he's not only going to be punished by the criminal justice system because he was out here committing these crimes, he's also going to be punished by the inmates in that whole prison system once he gets there, because this beta male, he's going to be in for the worst case because, one, he's already, as related to the courts, he murdered a white woman. So in this case, he's probably guaranteed to do life in prison just on her murder alone. And he's also gone out here, and after being tried, and if he is tried and convicted for this murder of this white woman, which he's probably going to be guaranteed to go to jail for the rest of his life for, because in the white supremacist court system, if you're a black man and you murder a white woman, you're pretty much done at this point. And he's probably going to go to prison for that. But in addition to that, he is also a member of law enforcement, and he's a pedophile, allegedly. So this Stephen Broderick, he is in for the worst case in prison. I mean, he's practically, again, just for being a cop, is going to be beaten up by Bubba and Tiny before they spit roast him and serve him up for some Little Debbie snack cakes and oodles of noodles. Because, again, when you are a former member of law enforcement and you're a pedophile, you're practically going to be at the bottom of the whole prison system, and these guys are going to be, again, tearing up that booty, turning this dude from a tight end into a wide receiver, and they're probably going to give him a good spit roasting practically every day after they finish curb stomping him into the ground. But this man wound up destroying his life because, again, of his numerous issues, and he wound up losing his freedom because of his feelings of inadequacy, his feelings of insecurity about his success, and those feelings led to him winding up turning his success into a complete failure, because this swirler had the American dream, but he turned it into a nightmare, not only for the 16-year-old relative he allegedly wound up molesting, but he also turned it into a nightmare for his deceased family, and he also traumatized his son in the worst way by murdering his wife, or his mother, and his sister and her boyfriend right in front of him. And that's something that's going to stay and scar that boy and turn it into a generational man crisis, because this boy, he's going to be, again, severely traumatized without getting some sort of counseling. And this is all due to this beta black male's self-hatred, and this beta black male's, again, feelings of inadequacy, feelings of lack of self-worth. I mean, he wound up, again, destroying everything because he did not feel like he deserved it. And again, this is an issue many of your beta males have as related to success. They don't feel like they deserve it. They don't feel like they are worthy of it. So they find ways to destroy everything about them just as they have accomplished something. And this is sadly what happened here with this man in crisis. And as this ticking time bomb wound up exploding in his rage, he wound up destroying all the lives around him, destroying his family, and destroying his success. And he'll probably have to reflect on that after Bubba and Tiny get a hold of him, that he wound up destroying everything as related to his life. And again, here is another case of one of these swirlers gone wrong. And sadly, after this bed buck has gone buck wild, he wound up destroying everything in his path, going from being the successful swirler into a black brute. And sadly, he's now going to go from being a member of law enforcement to an inmate, because again, it is guaranteed he is going to jail for life for murdering this white woman and killing his family. And sadly, in this whole incident within the man crisis, again, it shows how deeply disturbed many of these beta males are and how dangerous they are, because here was a man, again, a member of law enforcement, who thought he was above the law and thought he could go out here and do his wrong because he had done so much right, and thought he was justified in doing harm to one because he had done good for others. And again, shows how sick and twisted the thinking of a beta male is, and why these men in crisis need help. And this whole incident shows, again, how dangerous these guys are, because here again is a man in a position of power, and he abused that power and did harm to those he loved all around him. Now, if you want to learn more about the dangerous and self-destructive behavior of beta males, like I described in this video, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Man Crisis on Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. And if you want to see me do more men's issues videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Coming to paperback and e-readers in 2021, John Haynes, Taking Care of Business. The man who rules the world breaks on a brand new partner to help him take care of business in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get John Haynes, Taking Care of Business in 2021 at online booksellers everywhere.